Hello, welcome to TechBeard's Tech Digest for February 19th, 2026. Here's today's summary, and let's jump into it. So, first of all, Google announced Gemini 3.1 Pro on their blog. So, this is just the latest iteration for the Gemini model. And this is a research model. This is not the fast one. This is the pro one. So specific benchmark numbers are not detailed in this headline. The community is already dissecting this release. It's a clear signal that the foundational model race is continuing to accelerate. We had like 3 releases in the last 3 days or 4. Who's counting? So there's quite a bit of skepticism in the comments about diminishing returns of scaling, but there are some architectural improvements here to be seen. Next up, it's a huge leap for networking. So Deutsche Telekom T-Labs, they have successfully demonstrated quantum teleportation over existing fiber networks. And the best part is that they rely purely on commercially available hardware from a company called QNect. Okay, so the research team claims an impressive 90% average accuracy of the demonstration, proving that the next generation quantum networks might run on the infrastructure that we already have in the ground. So, of course, people are excited, everybody's excited, but people are raising concerns about distance limits and signal degradation. And of course, the key technical insight here is that this is not matter teleportation. This is quantum state transfer that has been around for a little while already. Next up, this is interesting. So if you're building wrappers or third-party tools around Claude, you gotta listen up here. So Anthropic has updated their legal and compliance documentation to officially ban the use of subscription authentication for third-party use. So this means that you can no longer piggyback on personal subscription, the token that you get, to power apps outside of the ones that Claude makes. So you'll need to use proper API keys moving forward, which is going to break a lot of unofficial clients and terminal tools. And of course, OpenClaw falls into this. So they are saying that this is just documentation update. This has always been like this, but considering that the creator of OpenClaw works for their competitor now, I think this is pretty clear what's going on here. Big news for graphics rendering and game devs. So Minecraft Java Edition is officially swapping their graphics API. They're moving from the agent OpenGL to fully adopting Vulkan. According to this article, the architecture shift is part of upcoming release called Vibrant Visuals Update. So this is a major rendering efficiency improvements, but it's gonna completely shake up the modding ecosystem. So specifically, if you use mods like Sodium or Optifine, they're not gonna work, right? They already mess with this, how it's getting rendered, and they need to be almost completely rewritten probably. So that's not thrilling, but hopefully, the official support will make it a lot nicer for those Java players out there. For hardware nerds out there, this author has published an excellent deep dive into what he calls Great FP64 Divide. So for 15 years, the industry has maintained a strict product segmentation strategy regarding 16-bit floating point performance. But the analysis here explains exactly how the new Blackwell Ultra architecture finally breaks this decade-and-a-half-old pattern. It's a fascinating look at the intersection of chip design and the market strategy. So, people are really appreciative of this change here. And of the article also, because it talks about the history here. So it's going to be pretty cool how this divide is going to be potentially bridged. So it's pretty awesome. You should go read the comments. So where was this? This is Hacker News. So this is pretty cool here if you want to read about this one. So next up, this interestingly named project, Electrobun. I like the name. So if you're tired of bloated desktop apps, people who are using Electron, which is a lot. So this app framework just dropped. So it's a new framework designed to let developers build fast, tiny cross-platform apps using TypeScript. And it looks like promising lightweight alternative to Electron. But comments are skeptical. Developers are always eager to find Electron alternative. So they like the words tiny and fast. But the main technical debate is how it compares to the existing solutions like Tauri, specifically how it binds to existing system APIs. In security news, U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, has issued a severe warning. A critical vulnerability has been found across multiple Honeywell CCTV products. The exploit relies on an authentication bypass flaw that allows attackers to gain unauthorized access to live video feeds, or even completely hijack user accounts. So some of the models are here. If you manage physical security infrastructure, patch your systems immediately. And, if you actually look at the discussion on Reddit, there's a lot of upvotes and only 5 comments. So this is like business as usual. So not a lot of people commenting on this. Next story is a master class in resilient systems engineering. The user here from Ukraine shared HA on the HA subreddit. They managed to control the smart home setup even during complete power grid failures. And the solution is that they bypassed traditional IP networking entirely and routed the HA commands over LoRa radio network. So it's a brilliant, highly practical application of radio tech for offline resilience. This is something I really want to do here when I go like camping, LoRa or even VHF potentially. So for people who don't know, LoRa is a little radio chip that works in licensed bands, and it's low bandwidth data network that can send packets over other people who use LoRa devices in your area. So potentially all over the world. So really the discussion is about how big is the payload and how optimized is the battery. Can you actually run this without any power being available, and for how long? Next up, an open source model. So this company released STEP 3.5 Flash. So it's an open source foundational model that's specifically engineered to support deep reasoning tasks while maintaining high operational speed. It's another good example of community pushing to make complex reasoning architectures more efficient for local, or fast inference deployments. Of course, comments talk about how this is not open source, this is open weights, and what are those reasoning speeds claims, where are the independent benchmarks? So we'll see how this continues. Finally, that's a cute robot. So those robots are officially joining assembly line. So TechCrunch here is reporting that Toyota deployed, or they call hired, 7 humanoid robots for one of their Canadian manufacturing factories. The hardware comes from a robotics company called Agility. And it's a massive milestone for automation, and moving those bipedal robots out of R&D showcase and Boston Dynamics videos onto actual active manufacturing floor is very cool. But comments of course talk about why we even need bipedal robots in the factory. Wheeled or tracked robots are usually far more efficient. So we'll see how this works. Of course, reconfiguring could be a little easier, but we'll see. See you next time.